Hello, everybody. This is the Road to Life show with Tim the Trucker. Before we get started, I just want to do an intro quickly that Emoji J put together for me.
I love you, Pop.
I put on my best shirt. Everything I own's on the dresser. Seems like every time that I'm up, I fall. It's always so much pressure, always so much pain in the morning. Whatever comes my way, I keep going, because I don't wanna lose it. Oh, I already feel so alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. One day I'll be rescued, then I'm gonna rescue you.
All right, Emoji J, thank you so much for that. Guys, this is the Road to Life show with me as your host, Tim the Trucker. Today, we have two amazing guests on here. We have Uma. We are also supposed to have Ari, who, if she doesn't show up, we will end up putting uh, Lotus in the box, and we will use him. Um, I just want to let you know that this is going to be run as a featured show, so there would be no cussing, no drinking, no smoking. Um, we have two amazing guests today, so let's go ahead and get. He agreed to it. Yes. Let's go ahead and get Uma in the box.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Uma.
How are you, Tim?
I'm good. I'm good. So can you go ahead and give us a little bit of information about you? Tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Uma B, Top Badge Uma B 1111. I am the CEO of the Lotus Lounge family here on streams. I'm a POF streamer. We have shows every day of the week, usually in the mornings and in the evenings. And we focus on bringing, the positive vibes to streams. We do fun, laughter, metaphysical topics, psychic readings, all of the sort. I'm a CEO in real life of a metaphysical center, so it's just easy to transition to streams and bring to streams what I do in real life.
Nice, nice, nice. How long have you been on the app?
For 2 years. I started December 2020 on streams. And
Oh,
I've really been enjoying my journey here. So it's nice to meet fun people and new people all the time.
yes, Jay. Sorry. So this is just a little test run we're putting together to do some more content. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Road to Life show with Tim the Trucker as your host. Today we have the beautiful Uma B in here. Also, if we can, let's see. So Moody Andrew, I can't accept you in the box right now as we are doing a featured show. But Uma, can you
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, where you grew up, where you live
absolutely.
now?
When people ask me on streams, where are you from? I like to say the world. I like to say the earth because I was actually born in London, the United Kingdom. And then I grew up in Barbados and Guyana, which is the South America and Caribbean. And then I moved to the States. And even when I moved to the States, I didn't live in one place. I've lived in New Jersey, Philadelphia, West Palm Beach, Florida, and now I currently reside in Northern Virginia. So I definitely like to move around, and I've had the experience of living here within the United States and overseas. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a great experience.
So you've gotten around. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. That's something I can relate to as well. I was born and raised in the state of Ohio, and I never really even got to come out of the state until I had reached about 17 is when I really started traveling outside of the state. And I fell in love with it. I realized how big this world really is, and it got me into wanting to travel more. And that's
Yes,
pretty much the whole reason why I wanted to become a truck driver. Not only is the pay great, but I also get paid to travel. So, um,
amazing.
can you tell us a little bit? So you said, where exactly did you grow up again?
So I grew up in two countries, in Barbados, which is where Rihanna's from, and I also grew up in Guyana, South America. Most Americans know about Guyana,
Hmm.
Jonestown, don't drink the Kool-Aid, because an American named Jim Jones went to Guyana and he, had like a little cult and everything there. But uh, outside of that, my country is really beautiful. So, my country, and we do have Kool-Aid and everybody drinks it and we're fine. We're all fine.
Okay, so you guys don't have to worry about the Kool-Aid
Don't worry
there.
about the Kool-Aid.
Um, so can you tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up as a child there? Was there anything that kind of like just didn't make sense to you, or any big change in your life, just as speaking just from your childhood?
Yeah.
What was it like over there? Was it hard as a child?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that Mej is also from Guyana, is also from my home country. I grew up in Guyana until I was 18. So I had my whole childhood in Guyana. And I think I'm very blessed because of that, because I got to really have a nice childhood. Like we were playing, running the streets, climbing trees, just doing like a lot of kid stuff that was really fun. Nowadays, I feel sorry for the kids these days. They're just always on their computers and electronics, and I feel like I had a really blessed childhood, like growing up in Guyana. The hard thing about growing up in Guyana is it was a third world country. So we
Mhm.
did have to go through third world things. At one point, we had a president that was a communist. So we did live under communist rules, which, we had to line up for food. They had police in the streets with guns. They would, beat you or torture you if, you were out of line. So as a child, I grew up witnessing stuff like that. um, I also grew up witnessing a lot of violence. Like it was nothing to see blood on the road or dead bodies or things like that. So you get very acclimated very quickly to the world can be a dangerous space, and you have to know how to navigate it. And I got to tell you something. That's one of the things that I love about growing up in the Caribbean, because the Caribbean people have such a big heart and we're so loving, but we're also very, very keenly aware that at any minute your life could be over. I mean, I've been caught in a lot of situations where, there was like gunfire, or you had to crawl on the ground to get out of a place, or, you got pepper sprayed or whatever. So you grow up having a very strong appreciation of life and for being here. So I feel blessed,
Yeah.
to have gone through all of that.
Yeah, I know that's got to be tough, for any child to go through something like that can be traumatizing,
Yeah.
honestly. So, uh, on that subject, has there been any trauma, anything that's really like stuck with you from your childhood to now that maybe like steers you away from doing certain things now as an adult?
So, for my childhood story, I don't really talk a lot about my childhood story, but in the Caribbean, you know, sexual assault on minors is a very common thing.
Mhm.
So that was part of my history growing up in a Caribbean country by a family member. And it's not as uncommon as you think it is. Like it's very, very common. So I had to deal with that, and I had to grow up with that. And because we are in a third world country, there's not a lot of resources for your mental health. So I developed a lot of mental health disorders coming out of that situation, because and I don't want to blame my family at all, because the thing is people in the Caribbean, they just didn't really know better. Like you don't, these are things that you go through. It's like a rite of passage, but nobody really talks about it. So I had to face my abuser at a lot of family get-togethers. I had to sit across from him or see him or be in the same room with him, and just carry on like everything's normal. So that did do a lot for my mental health. But the good thing is once I moved to the United States, and I was in college, one of the very first things I did was to start getting counseling and seeking help about the things that I was feeling. Yeah, it could get really, I love the Caribbean. but there is a dark side to the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? That people, well, I can't even say the Caribbean. I think it's just people living in poverty, and there's just some real life situations that we go through.
Yeah, and that's the thing, especially for the people over here in the US, we are very blessed. And
Very,
a lot of people don't understand this. Us as Americans are very, very blessed to
very.
be born into the United States because, a lot of people they don't understand and I've done a lot of research, but these third world countries and even not third world countries, South Africa even is a country where there is a lot of poverty. There is a
Yeah,
lot of things that goes on that we don't even think of. It's not even a thought in the back of our heads that this stuff is going on because of the things that we are given at such a young age and the things we're allowed to do. That if we were to do these things in other countries, we would be punished. You
right.
know,
I
so yeah.
actually I actually had to stop talking to a friend on here because I'm friends with a lot of streamers and I'm a pretty easygoing friend. I friend anybody and everybody, but I don't like drama because like you
Mhm.
said, I come from a third world country. So to me, there's no need for drama. There's no need for none of the ridiculousness that we sometimes see on streams, people talking about people or whatever. Like there's people with real life issues out here, So I actually had to stop talking to a friend because she was going through something personal, and her dude broke up, and then she pretty much went to streams and like just broke a computer, like a very very expensive computer on streams to like show she was healing or whatever. And I just could not get over that. I said, this is the thing, is I don't know if I could really be friends with somebody who has that privilege, you know what I'm saying? Because I just like, I prefer to be friends with people who are very humble and grateful for all that they have, and they work hard. They work hard for what they got and whatnot. So it is very much a part of my personality. If I am around people who are very wasteful or or kind of toxic or full of drama, I got to get out of there because there's bigger issues in the world. And I
Yeah.
mean, I have family members with that are still going through stuff being back home. Just like last year, my brother was shot at just driving home from work, and they were trailing him and they were shooting at him because he nearly got kidnapped, for
Mhm.
ransom. So yeah, there's bigger issues, and I think that's a lesson for all of us. We don't need to be doing these internet fightings with strangers for no reason.
For no reason at all. I
Yeah,
completely agree with you with that. Uh, so you said your brother, you still have siblings
yeah. I have two brothers,
overseas.
and they both still live there. I have a lot of family members still home. We still call that home, even though I've actually lived longer in the United States than I've spent in Guyana, but that's still home. So a lot
Mhm.
of my family, like 80% of my family, is still home. Yeah.
Where you're born and raised, that's always going to be home. It's like Ohio to me. No matter how far I run away and can
Yeah.
say I hate Ohio, that's
But
still
that's
home.
home. That's
That's
home.
still home. That's where all my friends are.
Yeah.
Uh, where I still have half of my family at. It's always going to be home, no matter where I am in life. No matter, I could be a millionaire and living in the hills of Hollywood. Ohio's still going to be home. It's never going to change. So
True.
with your family being over there, what are some of the struggles you've had with, you know, has it caused any troubles with you starting a family? I don't know much about you. I don't know if you have a family of your own yet.
I do. I have two kids. I have two teenage boys. My husband and I broke up. We divorced when they were very, very young, but I really appreciate my ex-husband because we're friends, and when we decided that we couldn't work as a couple, we decided to raise our kids together. And I love it. I got to say I'm very blessed, because there's a lot of women out here that are really, really, in my eyes, single moms. They don't get any child support. They don't have any support from their ex, and I'm spoiled. I mean, he has my kids, he takes care of them, when I'm not with them, and child support and all of that. But I think the biggest impact of my cultural upbringing is probably when it comes to like love and relationships, because okay, so a lot of people in the Caribbean feel like it's a privilege to be able to fall in love. And I say that because a lot of the world, actually, guys, a lot of the world is still marrying out of survival. So
Yes.
a lot of the world is marrying for that paycheck so they can make sure they can get fed and their children can get fed, or to squash a family quarrel or a political move. Like the marriage is not really a thing of love,
It's
you
not
know?
sacred anymore. Yes.
Right. It's a oh, I love you, and let's get married to prove our love to each other. But really and truly, the rest of the world, it's a form of transaction. So I have never really been the one to completely, like just allow myself to fall in love, because I always have this like thinking brain, and sometimes I get classified as cold because let's say if I have a significant other and it's just not working, I just have that logical side to be like, all right, it's not working, let's break up. Do you want to be friends? Do you not want to be friends? And me and the person usually are fine, so every now and then I get an ex that's not, but it's just funny to see how people receive that. They don't receive it as, oh, that's the logical thing that happened. It's like, oh, she's cold-hearted or she has no feelings or whatever. No, I feel a lot, but I'm not the typical person to wear their heart in a sleeve, because you had to grow up with a sense of a shell, in the Caribbean. So I'm a very soft person, but it's really the people that are closest to me that get to see that soft side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 100% the same way. Even growing up in America, I was fortunate enough to be taught morals and how to respect myself as a human. Um, Sorry, there's smoke coming up, and it's coming from my hood. So,
Oh,
but it's
you
probably
said,
just my heater. It's probably just my heater. We're good, guys.
yeah.
Sorry, that was
That's
a
good.
big distraction right there. But back on topic. So we touched based on a little bit of relationship on how that works for you, as far as what you've learned from your culture growing up and stuff. So I want to touch base on some of the things that you miss most about being over there.
The food, always the food. Anybody you put in this box, Tim, the first thing they gonna say is the food.
Mm.
Thank you. It is not curry chicken like the Jamaicans and Trinidadians and all of the Caribbean say. It is quite simply chicken curry. So it's like people would say to me when I'm over here, oh, you miss Caribbean food? Just go to a Jamaican restaurant. No, no, no. It's not the same thing. And by the way, you could get in a fight and lose your life over, like food in the Caribbean, because to this day, Guyanese people feel we make the best Caribbean food ever. So
So
we're
you
always
say
fighting with
me, you say
we're,
me as a picky eater. If I was to go offer me a dish and I was like,
oh,
I'm
oh yeah, no, that
fine on that.
you can't
Go over there and they would
do that. You can't do
can't do
the diamond man that I took home to Guyana one time, and he has this thing where he doesn't like to eat food with bones in it, and it's not really like an American thing, but in Guyana, man, you eat that chicken curry with the bones in it. And I remember I got a plate. We were somewhere and I got a plate, and he ordered a burger. Yeah, that dude ate all my food. He was like, he never touched a burger again the rest of that trip. He liked
okay.
everything. But food is the most important thing I miss about home. And then also too, just the culture. Like I have very specific memories. Like I'll tell you, Ramadan, my country is the land of six races, so we have the Europeans who came, we have the Amerindians, which are original people, the Europeans, the Africans came as slaves, the Chinese and the Indians came as indentured laborers, and we also had the Portuguese. So actually what's really cool about growing up in Guyana is we celebrate all the holidays. So like Chinese New Year, Holi for, the Indians, Ramadan for the Muslims, Kwanzaa for the Africans. Like we celebrate everything, and the whole country does. And
Right.
it's just you miss certain things. Like I would remember my mom is Muslim, and I would remember when she was breaking her fast in the evenings, and the whole house smells of incense. And she would always make tea, and she would fry like these like pastry things, and she would do her prayer, and you would hear in the whole country the sounds going off of
Right.
everybody praying with the azan, the sacred prayer. And these things you never forget. They're just buried in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to just go ahead and plug the show, guys. If you're just tuning in, this is the Road to Life show with Tim the Trucker as your host, myself. We have the beautiful Uma B in the box right now, giving us a little bit of information about what it was like growing up in a third world country at that. And she's now living, I believe you said, in South Carolina,
Northern Virginia, close.
Northern Virginia. Okay, close. It's still right there in the Carolinas a little
It's
bit.
right there. It's okay.
Yeah. My memory is shot at this point, but
Mine
uh,
too.
so South Carolina or Virginia, Northern Virginia.
Northern
See,
Virginia.
that's how easy it is to forget. Um, which is it's funny because I'm actually through Northern Virginia a lot. But I want to know what it's like. Oh, I gotta plug this show. I'm sorry. That's the whole reason why I paused, guys. Road to Life show every Monday night, 11:59 p.m. Technically, 12 a.m. Tuesday is the time slot, but just to stop the confusion, Monday night, 11:59 p.m. You can always get a hold of Moody Andrew, Emoji J, Ellie Marie the Brat. They're all my admins for the show. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can always hit one of them up.
Just keep going. You're good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Uma, what has it been like living in the States? Because you said you've been in the States now longer than you were overseas.
Yeah.
What's it been like here, and how hard has it been adapting to life over here?
I had to learn how to become more softer because I am, like I said, I'm the CEO of a metaphysical center. So I do things like life coaching, spiritual healing, things of that nature. And in the beginning, when people would come to me to talk about their problems, I had a very strong disdain because of my upbringing, right? So here you are sitting crying about a man who left you like 2 years, 2 years ago, and he's married and you can't pay your bills. Like, to me, your focus should be on paying your bills. You know what I mean? So I had to really learn how to soften my approach, and I had to really learn that pain is pain, regardless, of what we consider pain. Everybody's entitled to feeling that pain, and I learned. Of course, living in the States is the best thing because you have so much conveniences. But the problem with that is it makes us lazy, and it makes us just kind of, I don't know, like unmotivated and definitely spoiled. We're all living a privileged life, myself included. So what I started, and I noticed that when I was younger, because I would just be like, wait a minute, Uma, what are you doing? Like, who cares about any of this? So I started going to do volunteer mission trips every 2 years, and I would just pay for it myself. I went with an organization called Cross Cultural Solutions, and I would go spend a week in a third world country and do whatever they needed me to do. So like I went to Guatemala and painted a school. I went to Morocco and worked at a children's hospital. I went to Brazil for a homeless shelter for women. And I did it because I wanted to remind myself that there is so much more life outside of the United States. The United States is not the world. And
Yes.
to always keep everything in perspective. So I was going every 2 years on those service trips until I had my kids. And then, I have two kids, and I've pretty much been a mom for the past like 18 years now. One's going to be 18. So yeah, it's been interesting to see how comfortable we've allowed ourselves to become.
Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, and that's very true. It's a lot of people. Like I said, you've done a lot of traveling. And
Yes.
I believe that's a lot of that. I believe is what humbles you because you've seen a lot of things. You've seen the difference between, other countries to ourselves. And you are correct. We are very blessed to, like I said before, to even live in the United States, to be born and raised here. A lot of people don't
It's a
understand how
blessing.
blessed we really are. Um, but I do appreciate you sharing that.
You're
I do
welcome.
have another guest I got to get in the box. I would
Thank
I would
you.
love to get to talk to you more, and I'm definitely gonna. I believe I have you favorited. If I don't, I'm definitely gonna hit you with that fade. I would love to talk to you some more, even
Absolutely, Tim.
outside of the show. But also, I want to give you one last chance to kind of promote anything you got going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm Top Badge Uma B 1111. I am the founder of the Lotus Lounge family. We are here on streams every day, twice a day. And I have a featured stream on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. called Uma's Lotus Lounge. It's a metaphysical experience. In that stream, we do free readings, we do a metaphysical talk. We have a guest. I'm gonna definitely get Tim on the show to be a guest one of those Wednesdays. And it's a way to just kind of like make the app smaller for us to just get to know each other and hang out more and stuff. That's why if you are driving through Northern Virginia, I expect to meet up and let's go, grab a burger or something, and just like chat it up.
I come through there quite often, so
Yeah. So we'll link, we'll hit me on the IG, we'll link. Because I do a lot of streamer link ups and I just love meeting people. But thank you, Tim, so much for having me. I appreciate you. And have a great night.
You too. All right, guys. So if you're wondering what you just tuned in to, this is the Road to Life show with Tim the Trucker as your host. We do this every Tuesday morning, 12 a.m. Eastern time. If you would love to be a guest on the show, you can always hit up Emoji J, Moody Andrew, Ellie Marie the Brat, or even myself. We all have Instagram. You can hit us up on here, on Meet Me, or whatever platform you're on, or our Instagram pages. I also want to just give a real quick shout out to my top 3 gifters. I'm going to go ahead and with the number 3rd, we got Lotus. Big shout out to him. And then our number 2 spot, we got Uma B. And then my favorite Black VIP on the app, LR1111 at the number 1 spot. Thank you so much, LR, and everyone else for your gifts. I do see them. I do appreciate them, but I'm sorry I cannot acknowledge them during the show. It would just take too much time. But at this time, if we can please get Lotus to request a box.
Wow.
What's up, Lotus?
I feel like Michael Jordan was just on.
Uma,
I
she
know
is
Uma.
amazing.
I know
Guys.
her. Uma is amazing.
Yes. Please, if you guys are in here, please, go hit her with the favorite as well. She is a great person. But I want to talk about you, Lotus. We got you in the box. This is your time to shine, buddy. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow. 65. There's a lot there. I was born in Pasadena, California. My dad moved to Wilmington, Delaware, and he worked for a company called DuPont. We moved to Germany in '64. The one thing I remember before we went was that's when JFK was shot, and I was in kindergarten, and I always remember the teacher coming out with tears in her eyes, and they sent everybody home, and I was just upset there no cartoons. But, I don't know if there's ever been the sorrow of somebody like a president being shot or anyone. That's just never. There's been a lot of tragedy like that, but it's never been like JFK.
Right. Okay, so you said you grew up in California, right?
Well, I was born there.
Born in California. Yeah, okay. How long did you live in California?
Well, I think it was only 2 years. Then we moved to Delaware, and then his company transferred us to Frankfurt, Germany.
Frankfurt, Germany. Okay. So let's start there, man.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is you were born in California. At the age of 2, you moved.
Right.
Right. So I'm guessing at 2 years old, you probably don't remember much about it. But how long were you in Germany for?
We were there for 4 years. We lived in Frankfurt for about 3 years, and then or about 3.5. We weren't in Dusseldorf. We went to Dusseldorf. It was weird because the school we went to in Frankfurt was kind of normal.
Hmm.
But the Dusseldorf, there wasn't a school, so they had to send me to a British school. And that
Okay.
was cool for shock.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're not British,
No.
but you went to a British school. So tell us a little bit about kind of, you grew up in America, you moved to Germany. I know you were pretty young at that time, and I know you probably don't remember a whole lot about it. I can't even remember some of the things I did yesterday. But whatever you do remember, can you tell us a little bit about what was it like adapting to that change at such a young age? Moving from the States to Frankfurt to into Germany and going to school in Germany. Or
It,
yeah.
it's because I talked to my girlfriend about that. It's like, in we went to one school. It was they had to go to a boarding. We had to go to a boarding school, and we'd have to ski down to class. I don't think, doesn't every kid do this? You know, it's like it's normal. The things I saw as a young kid, it's like no kid. I just took it for granted.
Hmm.
But I had just such a freedom of just learning things, and the only thing I think my parents overprotected me a lot, but I think there's a word for trans. They're called trans kids or something. They're kids that were raised in a foreign country but are American. There's a word for that. There was a person I knew. She actually was in Frankfurt when I was there in '64, and she's on Facebook. We met up.
Okay. I'm not too sure of the word. Unfortunately, the only other country I've been to in my life has been Canada, and that's kind of like that's our neighbor. That's like going over your neighbor's house to borrow some Kool-Aid. You know. Uh, so tell us a little bit. So where were you? Let me ask you this: where were you in your teens? Your late teens, about 16, 17 years old. Where were you living at that time?
Well, we moved back from Argentina when I was in 7th grade, so I was about 13. And then through high school, I tried to play soccer, played all kinds of sports, and I didn't do well in high school because I just went from school to school. I learned Argentina. We had 4 hours of English, recess, and then 4 hours of Spanish. And the Spanish classes had the same classes as the English. So you're talking about a 10-hour a day for a kid, plus flag ceremony at the end of the day. In the beginning of the day, you'd have, but it was hard to adjust to the high school because I didn't grow up with all the kids.
Right.
And that's where you develop yourself, really. And I came pretty confident, and I came there and got knocked down real quick.
Yeah, and I can relate to that totally, man, because myself, I had went to the course of 8 schools throughout my whole 12 years in school, up until I graduated. Like I said, I'd been to I believe it's been 9 schools. So I was always, moving around, bouncing around from school to school as well, and it is hard. Um, so I want to ask you a little bit about, is there anything that you missed that you can remember from being not in the U.S.? You said you moved to all these other countries and have lived all over pretty much. I think you've kind of like Uma B have been all over the place. So besides the food, what can you say you missed the most?
I played, you saw in the other show, I was high school. I got call from my coach, and I got to go play professional soccer down there. And I was on a third division, and all these players started getting hurt, and I got up to the top, and I got to play in front of 90,000 people. That's why I miss the soccer. And when the World Cup comes around, I want to get out there again. Yeah, it's what's I guess well, we call them football, but it's in my blood, and it's always, yeah. I even there was a team in Philadelphia, the Union. I got to go step on the field, and I just felt I was standing there. I was like, oh God, I wanted to. It's like I'm 60 years old. I can't. But that's
Totally
what I really miss. Yeah.
Totally understandable. And sports are a big part in a lot of people's life. But at this time, I do want to let the people tuning in know that you're just now tuning into the Road to Life show with Tim the Trucker as your host. This is a featured show that we're running every Tuesday morning, 12 a.m. Eastern time at that. So if you would like to be a guest on the show, please hit up Emoji J, Moody Andrew, Ellie Marie the Rat, or even myself. Either one of us can get you on the show. Also, I just want to thank Lotus for being here. Unfortunately, we had a mishap, so to say. Let's just say I appreciate you for being here, for stepping up, being a guest on this show.
Pleasure.
It's great having you. And if you guys don't know Lotus, please hit him with that favorite. He is a streamer. And I can see in your name you got an auction coming up on the 12th. But we'll let you talk about that here in a few minutes. I want to get into, we've been talking about your past. I want to kind of get into your present, present day. What's life like now for you? What are some things that you kind of learned, from your past experience, moving around and everything, that you kind of brought into your everyday life now?
Well, I took it down in my bio yesterday. My wife passed away a year ago. I was caretaker for 10 years. I didn't know I had it in me, and I developed an empathy. I found I had these overwhelming feelings that I'd take other people's feelings and it just exhaust me. But then I learned how to use that to my advantage. And that's where I hope for the stream, the lessons learned is trust your instincts, because they're usually right. And how many times, no, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, you should have did it.
Always trust your gut instinct. That is one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life too. If you think it's going on, it's probably going on. Or if you think it's something you should do, you should probably do it. And another thing is always be comfortable doing the uncomfortable. That is what I tell everybody. And it's kind of a complete opposite. You got to be comfortable, uncomfortable. And when you learn to do that, I promise you're going to do nothing but succeed in life. Stepping out of your comfortable zone, doing things you wouldn't normally do, that's the best thing anybody can do. Especially when you're trying to better yourself. If you're scared to take that job, if you're scared to do something, kind of work yourself up to it and just go for it, man. Because what's the worst thing that can happen is you fail. And at that point, at least you can say you tried, But I want to get into touch about, because you got some experience under your belt. I want to know what it's been like dating. I'm sure you've dated a lot. So I want to know what it's been like dating for you in the different cultures. Maybe tell us a little story. We don't have much time, but a quick little story about what it was like dating when you were younger and kind of dating now. And what would you say has changed the most about it?
Well, when I was young, I was scared to death. I could not even go near a woman because, we moved so many places. Things I didn't learn was even how to fold my own underwear, how to do laundry, how to cook. and everything I taught myself. So what I learned later in life is they have the same problem, right? And just look for the one that smiles to you and lets you speak and listens. Just doesn't talk about themselves. When they don't talk about themselves, then they're probably a genuine person.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you. Let's see. So I want to know. This is where I'm gonna kind of let you not run the show. But is there anything you've learned the most throughout your life, throughout all the traveling, from where you were before to where you are now, that if there's any advice that you would give yourself, your younger self,
Oh God.
and it doesn't have to be nothing, extravagant, but just a little word of advice that you would give yourself as a child that you wish you would have listened to, that maybe somebody's even told you growing up.
Stay your path. Follow your dreams. Don't let anybody steer you out of your course, because it's like I said, your instincts are there, and there's signs. I'm not religious, but I believe there's signs that are shown to you to do the right path, and they're right there. And if you just focus and stay the path, things will come out the way you dreamed of.
100%. 100%. So at this time, I do wanna, we got about 12 minutes left. I want to give you a chance to plug yourself. And like I said, I see you got an auction coming up. Do you want to tell us about that? Tell us what we can expect when we come to your streams, and how often do you stream?
Okay, well, I have it's every Sunday. It seems the 12th is a pajama auction, and it's at 7:35. The following week, meet and greet with Mej, and I think that's at 7:30. And I believe that's going to be it. My girlfriend just started streaming. We're going to develop a show. It's going to be called Aging Gracefully. And when I first thought about it, I thought of just for older people, but as we talked tonight, you got to get prepared, and well, we can help. I mean, we're not experts, and I can tell you what not to do. But it's ever changing. And when I grew up, I remember seeing color TV for the first time, and people in your generation have followed. Just imagine what they've seen just at a young age. You have to start early, so when you're older, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be part of that show. And I'm also doing a cooking show. And I have to see the logistics. I might just do that once a month.
Okay.
I forget the other. We're doing a lunchtime trivia. And I if you come to my stream, I play a lot of music, mostly rock and roll. Play a lot of jazz and have some interesting graphics behind it.
Okay, nice. Yeah, because you got into the whole OBS thing, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Yeah, so I think I've maybe been to your stream once so far, but I'm definitely gonna keep checking you out, man. I know we just met yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday, and I feel like, man, I feel like
shows together.
I run into you everywhere I go, man.
Shadow.
But yes, I'm definitely going to be coming and checking you out, showing you some love. Guys, if you don't know who Lotus is, please hit him with a favorite. He's an amazing guy. He's been to my streams quite a few times, just in the last 30 hours.
I have to show you something. I don't know if you can see it. this was for my trucking school in Indianapolis,
Mm-hmm.
and I had trouble backing up. I know you were talking about, but it just came to mind because there was this real nice black woman that she just like, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. I know you can do it. And she said, you know, you look at the cone and you call it the daddy pole. And I said, would you be my daddy pole? And she goes, yeah, well, it's like, you know, she's telling me, I trust you. I think this hat's special to me.
That's nice, man. That's nice. There's a lot of special things that I have, you know, that were given to me. Even, you know, a lot of people. Which I'm not gonna get off topic. There's a million things I can talk about off topic. I've looked forward to continue talking to you, getting to know you a little bit, you know. But I do again want to thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a pleasure to have you, and we'll have you back anytime. You know, you're welcome. Uh, but yeah, I mean, if there's not anything else, I'm going to go ahead, get you out of the box.
Well, there's one thing I was going to say. I forget, when you were talking about, you know, living in other cultures, is everybody is pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
They just have different rules, and
That's
you just have to, and the culture rules. You just have to learn how to respect their rules, and they'll respect you.
Yep. I completely agree. But yeah, Lotus, it was nice talking to you. I'm gonna go ahead and get you out of the box. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So guys, if you're just tuning in to the end of the show, this is the Road to Life show with Tim the Trucker. Every Tuesday mornings, 12 a.m. Eastern time. We do this amazing show. We bring two people into the box. We kind of talk about them, get to know them a little bit. The whole show is pretty much to get to know each person individually and kind of see the struggles and hardships that they've had, maybe growing up, you know, in total different lifestyles than they are now. You know, like myself, I went from small town boy who didn't ever move out of his town, didn't travel until I was 17, 18 years old, to now I'm traveling the country. You know, I see so many amazing things. I see so many non-amazing things. And it's very different. It's changed my entire lifestyle. It changed who I am as a person. But the thing is I'm relatable to a lot of people, and that's what the show is about, is to show the relatability. You know, no matter what people go through, no matter where we're from in life, we can all relate to one another. I also want to plug my admins into the show, let you guys know if you're interested in being on the show, you can always hit up Emoji J, Moody Andrew, Ellie Marie the Brat. They can all get you booked on the show, or even hit up me. My DMs are open. You can always message me directly. I can get you connected to one of my admins, or even myself if I'm not busy. I can go ahead and get you booked for the show. At this time, I do want to bring in each of my admins that are here with me. Let them introduce themselves too. Emoji J cannot, but if I can get one of my admins at least in here, they can introduce themselves.
Not the big box. Hello.
What's up, Moody?
Not too much.
So
Hi guys, my name is Moody. If you guys would like to be on the show, Andrew.meetme, hit me up on IG. And I do have a few other shows myself. I have Guess the Gibberish, which Tim is my admin. So is Emoji J. Called Guess the Gibberish every single Wednesdays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could always hit us up. We could always answer you if you have any questions. Let us know. Also, between Emoji J, Tim, myself, and a few other admins, we do have a new upcoming featured show recap that is every single Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to be on any featured show on the app or any show, come to that show every single Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a place where you could find a show you are looking for to be booked on.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I appreciate you so much. So, guys, this is Moody Andrew, one of the admins for the show. You can always hit him up. And also, Emoji J, he's down in the comments. Ellie Marie the Brat was in the comments. You can always hit them up to be a part of the show as well. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm going to do one more plug. This is the Road to Life show with Tim the Trucker. Each week, we bring 2 guests into the box. We talk about some of the struggles they've had. You know, these are 2 very diverse people, you know, who have grown up maybe in third world countries, maybe just even still in the States, and they've just traveled all around. And in their childhood to now as an adult, they might be settled down. You know, you never know. We get to know each streamer a little bit. It's really just to show that, you know, no matter how different we are as humans, we're all relatable. We all have things in common. And it's just a way to kind of bring us all closer together in a world that is so full of hate nowadays. But at this time, I want to give another shout out to my top 10 gifters. I'm going to do my top 10 gifters. So let's go ahead and see what we got over here. We only got 7, so let's go with 7. We got Miss Carrie Baby. Oh, Mej. We got Mej coming in at our number 7 spot. I want to thank him so much. Also, we got Blondie coming in at our number 6. Number 5, we got Ellie Marie the Brat, also an admin for the show, guys. You can always hit her up. Number 4, we got Shorty coming in. And number 3, top 3 gifters, we have Lotus in at the number 3 spot. We have Uma B coming in at the number 2 spot. And we have my favorite Black VIP badge, LR1111 at the number 1 spot. I just want to thank them very much for that.
And Emoji
Number
J.
8 spot, at that number 8 spot, I forgot. That's my bad. We got Emoji J coming in at that number 8 spot. Sorry I missed you, Emoji J. Also an admin. But yeah, that's it.